This third part of the series on shadow people is going to feature the Hat Man reveal. I've taken photos of shadow people and turned up the brightness and contrast so you can see what's beneath that black veil. And yes, there is something to see in some of these photos, but not all. I believe the Hat Man reveal is truly compelling, and it may just blow your little mind. I'm going to start off part 3 with a personal experience. My third interaction with shadow person, and if you're thinking that I am a haunted man, that would be an accurate statement. In my third house, I shared my bedroom with the ghost of a young man who lived in the house previously and committed suicide. A tall, dark figure has been spotted at my door by my daughter. The young man was well over 6 feet tall, and my dog alerts to and follows an unseen apparition all the time, sometimes just with his eyes. Sometimes he gets up and walks to it, looking up. I was told he is not evil, but is extremely depressed, and I was an unwitting recipient of his melancholy. And yes, a depressed soul can give off low vibrations that can influence and bring down your own state of mind, so that you and anyone living with you can become sad for no apparent reason. Write in the comments if you live in a home, apartment, or building where someone has committed suicide and subsequently experienced depression. Sitting at my desk, the place where the suicided young man, now the shadow person, sat, the hairs constantly stand up on my left arm as if he were there intently observing what I was doing. A family member had things moved, one thing disappeared, and later when he found it, he said thank you out loud, and an unseen male voice said, "You're welcome." My daughter was slapped on the butt loud enough for me to hear it while standing next to me in the shadow person's bedroom. Nobody in that house feels that the tall, featureless apparition is inherently evil, but he is a very sad presence. He is felt and sometimes seen in the corner of the room by where I sleep. One evening, after I just laid down to go to sleep, my daughter came in to tell me something and informed me that the shadow person was standing in the corner right next to my head. By the way, I do know his name, but out of respect for him, I will keep that private. After my daughter left, I felt I owed it to the young man's soul to urge him to cross over, and I felt a soft hit on my leg after doing so. I do not know if he moved on, but can only hope he did in order to escape that dark mental prison that he had himself locked into, and only he had the keys to get out. As I continue talking about my experience with the ghost of a young man who committed suicide, I thought I would show this photo of a man who suicided himself at the Peyton Randolph house by placing a pistol in his mouth. No, I'm not showing it for the shock value, but to make a point about suicide. Peyton Randolph house, like the house that I was living in, has a dark energy that permeates the psyche of anyone, not only inside, but the outside perimeter of the house as well. Back to my experience, there were other evil shadow figures lurking in that house, and I found out that the woman who previously lived there was placed in a mental institution. She was messing around with Ouija boards, something I do not recommend, and I can only wonder if that plus the suicide of her son helped put her over the edge of sanity. Or could it have influenced her son to commit suicide? I have seen this before. Suicide is not the answer, and very often the soul remains there with nothing solved or resolved as they still exist in a deep state of depression. The suicide at the Peyton Randolph house, where the victim shot himself in the mouth, covered in my first video on the most haunted house on the east coast of the United States, over 200 years ago, has left an angry, depressed soul ruminate over the rash act of self-destruction for several lifetimes. My point? Suicide solved nothing, and he's still in that same state. I would not recommend moving into a home where someone has committed suicide, as they are likely still there, and their depressed mental state can soon become yours. This next shadow figure dispels some intrigue because it is not shaped like any of the others. The two people on the left were on my tour, but the black figure on the right was not visible to the human eye. The shadow child on the left was, and her outline was defined as well as the two real people, but the shadow figure had an indefinite powdery outline to it. When I lightened the shadow person, it was a disappointed gray mist. So let's look at the shadow child lightened. Notice she is sporting an 18th century style hat and a cap. So another depressed or lost soul here, who is now older than you or I, remains forever young. I wonder if she still has the mind of a child. As if things are not creepy enough, let me show you a photo of a ghost tour there at the courthouse that had as many shadow people in it as it had real people. Don't believe me? Let's look closer. I'm going to show you small crops of the group to prove my point. Here is a smaller shadow person between two real people, along with two white ghosts. One larger and one much smaller right in front of it, gazing right at me. Right on the far left are several more shadow people, with another walking out near the front of the courthouse. First, focus on the one to the far left. So the one on the far left, walking in front of the courthouse, just looks like a mass of black light up close. So let's lighten it. Once it is cropped and lightened, you can see a blonde woman in a long black dress show up. Who would have thought you would see that under the black veil? Next to the blonde woman, we have two shadow people together. And yes, it's hard to tell, so let's lighten it a bit. Looking at the lightened part, you can see a hat man facing a woman with long, thick black hair. Next, we have what looks like 3 to 5 shadow figures standing in the corner of the courthouse. If we lighten this photo, there's no reveal because you can't really tell how many there are and you cannot see any distinguishing characteristics. But if there was nothing there, you would be able to see the bricks. This one was right in the middle of the group, so let's see if the lightning trick will work on this one. This one does not reveal a whole lot, but you can see one dark eye and that he is wearing a hat. There are 3 to 4 more shadow people in this small group, but for time constraints, let's just move on. I would like to show you several examples of what I believe to be just ghosts in dark clothing out walking the streets of Williamsburg. The guy on the far left looks as if he is carrying a skull in his left hand. The first two on the left have the same hair and facial details, which may disqualify them in a more solid outline than the powdery look of most shadow people. The last one on the far right, however, does have the powdery outline, but it has a very white face, so you be the judge on that one. Some think he looks like Pinhead from the Hellraiser movie, but is he a real shadow person? What do you think? I've also been asked about the Peyton Randolph house. Surely that has shadow people. Perhaps, but I have not photographed any there yet. I will give you 2 examples of perhaps the closest I've gotten to shadow people. The photo on the left is a huge dark head with solid black eyes, and yes, there is a wispy smaller white ghost to the left. The other photo is 2 glowing eyes taken in the upstairs window on the far left, and I tried a lightning effect on this photo and got nothing other than the glowing eyes. So let's move out of Williamsburg, Virginia, and go to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Now let me preempt this by stating that this area is called the graveyard of the Atlantic because hurricanes, nor'easters, and other storms have sunk hundreds of ships. One day at the beach near Corolla, a storm blew in and I captured a few shots of lightning before leaving. There was no one on the beach when I took these shots, and yet shadow people showed up right at the water's edge on the far left. There are several ghost stories about ghosts only showing up during storms. Some show up before storms and or hurricanes, some believed to warn people. Here's a second shot of a lightning strike with shadow people on the beach. Again, look to the far left. This figure was several hundred feet away, so there is not a lot of detail, but it's just sitting on the beach in a thunderstorm. Was it a victim of drowning while swimming, or was it one of the myriad of sunken ships that give up their dead? This one is even more intriguing because it not only shows a shadow person with objects that are black and white, but also a phantom ship in the water right offshore. You can see the blurry windows right above the shadow person's head. I bet you've seen white mist before, but what about a black mist? We are back in Virginia, this time at St. Peter's Episcopal Church, an original 18th century house of worship attended by Martha Washington, wife of our first president. This black mist hovered over the church for only seconds and then vanished. Check the white arrow at the top of the photo. Could this be evidence that during movement, shadow people are just a black mist and only take humanoid form when they are on the ground and want to be seen? Here's another hat man taken on the very haunted Crawford Road in Yorktown, Virginia. This one seems to break two rules of shadow people. One, everything is covered in black except around the eyes. Secondly, this hat man does not have a black powdery outline like most. He has a very distinct outline to leave us wondering if he truly is a hat man. Here's a photo of the Ludwell Paradise House in Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia, an original 18th century home of a very wealthy family. If you look on the right by the base of a small tree, you will see a large hat man with just about all of his legs are below the road surface, making him about equal height with an unknown man on the far right looking at the house. If his feet were on the road instead of below the road, the hat man would tower over the man on the far right. That man had a spirit box and called this thing up, yet he could not see it and had no idea. This is one reason why spirit boxes can be dangerous, especially if this hat man is truly evil. More on that in a minute. Here's a crop of the previous photo so you can see the hat man up close. Notice that other than a silhouette, there are no visible features of the face to see. It's like a black powdery mist. Here's a second crop showing only the head and the hat. If you look closely, you see a tiny white ghost of an old man on the back of his head. With the progressive lightening in the next four photos, I'm going to remove the hat man's black veil, something that has never been done before, so you can see what the hat man really looks like. I will not comment till the end while you take in what the hat man really is. I depixelized just the face of the last photo so you could see it better, noting a disproportionately small eye as well as an animal-like ear, leaving me to ask the question, is the hat man even human? Is it a demon? Is it an alien? So here is the progressive reveal, lightening the photo each step till the fourth photo you could see through the veil, and I will leave you to put a label on it. I am re-showing the photo of the Ludwell Paradise House in Colonial Williamsburg, where I know something truly evil happened, but I will not post the photographs. My conscience will not allow me, and if it did, the video would get taken down for graphic content. If the hat man is present because of this, he is connected to something truly evil. I did not mention what the real person on the far right was doing, but he was with a small group of people that are out of sight in the photo with a device to talk to ghosts. He was openly inviting a ghost to talk to him, and he obviously did not see what was right in front of him. I say this because some treat the paranormal like a game. You have no idea what will show up when you invite ghosts into your presence. I think if these people actually saw what was in front of them, they would have took off running, especially if the hat man rose to his full height of 10 to 12 feet. So be careful when involved with the paranormal. You can take a ghost, spirit, soul home with you as an attachment, and it may be more than you bargained for. Learn from my experiences and know this: I did not invite or call out any of the shadow people in these photos. They were already there when I moved in. Shadow people have left bloody scratches. They have created a prevailing feeling of depression and melancholy. They have scared the hell out of some of my family and friends. And they have created an atmosphere of stress, contention, and moodiness that resulted in fighting among family members. I'm not talking fisticuffs, but I am talking verbal abuse and assault. The bottom line, you do not want to call them or invite them into your presence, and do not taunt them either. Some of them are more powerful than you can imagine, and you will not come out the winner. If you are watching this, I would assume you believe in ghosts, shadow people, and possibly other paranormal entities. If you believe in the dark side, then you must also believe the other side of the coin exists, the light side. Ask God, Source, Christ, whomever your light side is, to protect you when confronted by the dark ones. I am living proof those requests and prayers were answered. So hey, be careful out there. Sometimes you can't see what you are encountering, but it may be dangerous. By the way, don't forget to check out Amazon for my books on haunted historic colonial Williamsburg. Links provided below.